Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us on KREM 2 News First at 4. I'm Tom Sherry.
It's good to have you with us. I'm Jane McCarthy. Everyone concerned about wildfire season, of course. Now, the Bureau of Land Management wants to build more fuel breaks.
So that is essentially a corridor or a strip of ground that slows down a wildfire. Fuel breaks also make it safer and easier for firefighters to control a wildfire.
We don't expect a fuel break will always stop a fire. We do expect that a fuel break will slow down a fire, and that buys time for firefighters to get the right crews and the right equipment to the right place and start doing something about the fire. Doing nothing is not an option. We feel as land managers who are stewards of public land, this is a step we need to take.
BLM's proposal includes building fuel breaks in Idaho, Oregon, Washington, along with 3 other states. While the proposal includes more than 200 million acres of land at risk of wildfires, leaders with BLM say they would strategically place these fuel breaks to optimize the system. Now, if all goes as planned, they could start building those fuel breaks by this fall.
In Louisiana, parts of New Orleans are underwater after flash flooding hit the area. You can see people kayaking through the streets as drivers try to push their way through floodwaters.
All of this flooding comes as a tropical depression is gaining strength in the Gulf of Mexico. This major storm has the potential to dump more than 2 feet of rain on the Gulf states. Louisiana state leaders are asking people don't get out and kayak, instead stay inside or get to higher ground. In terms of our forecast locally, some of our viewers have seen a little rain today.
Yeah, we saw a little rain in downtown Spokane, but we're experiencing drier weather, I think, this evening and overnight. Come with me over here. The showers that we saw cooled us down into the mid-70s. Pretty comfortable outside. 75 degrees. We've had cloud cover all day long. Now we're looking at partly cloudy skies across the area. You can see the barometric pressure is holding steady, and we've got wind out of the south-southwest at about 7 miles per hour. When you take a look at the satellite and radar picture, as you can see, those are the showers that moved through our area and now have moved off to the northeast of us. Still seeing some rain over on the west side of the state, but things are eventually going to be drying out. Closer view shows again maybe a few showers, especially over maybe Mount Spokane or out towards Micah Peak or in the foothills of the mountains just kind of south of the State Line Village area and Post Falls. We'll look for an overnight low of 60 degrees and again drier weather building in. Cloudy start tomorrow, then will become partly cloudy in the afternoon. Look for a daytime high of 83 for the weekend. Hottest temperature so far in July is going to be this Saturday, 89 degrees. And then we'll look for breezy weather on Sunday, but still pretty warm with a high expected near 84.
Very nice, Tom. Thank you very much. Meantime, the USGS is monitoring a swarm of small earthquakes near Mount Hood. Geologists say we shouldn't be worried about this, though. So far, there have been about 40 quakes recorded, but the tremors are too small for people to feel. Similar swarms have been reported over the past 2 decades. Now, the most recent report was in 2014.
So based on the similarity of past earthquakes, seismologists do not think Mount Hood is about to erupt. They believe tectonic plates are just making small adjustments. Even so, scientists are monitoring this activity.
Well, more than half of Idaho's job service offices are now set to close.
Yeah, the decision was made by the State Department of Labor after seeing a 47% drop in federal funding over the last 10 years. 14 of the 25 offices will close by September, and this includes the offices in Moscow, Bonners Ferry, Kellogg, and St. Mary's. After the closures, there will only be 6 regional offices and 5 affiliate offices in Idaho.
It's hurting the community, it's hurting our programs, it's hurting our services, it's diverting money away from those programs.
It's talking Goodwill. We've all made a trip to Goodwill to help clear out the clutter, but now employees say their stores are just swamped with items they can't sell.
So once we drop off our secondhand goods, it's up to Goodwill to sort through the items and then figure out what they can sell and what's junk. The company has a dedicated sorting facility that runs 7 days a week. Items are sorted, and then those that don't make the cut to be sold, they can be sent away as far away as Pakistan. But this process is not cheap.
Company leaders in Western Washington expect to end the year with $1.2 million in dumping fees alone. Now, that's money that could have gone back into community programs. With that in mind, Goodwill is just hoping you think twice about what you should donate and what you should dump.
Good reminder. Well, it can be challenging and frustrating to find a parking spot on a busy night. Well, a few college graduates in Colorado think they have a solution.
It's an app called Driveways. It allows drivers to actually rent a parking spot in someone's driveway. And the app is now available in Spokane. Mark Hanrahan joins us now with a preview on how this works. Mark?
Yes, good afternoon, guys. 3 friends in Colorado created that app about a year ago after they kept buying empty driveways, but not enough parking spots on the street. So with the app, homeowners can rent out their driveways, and if you have plans at a certain time, you can reserve the parking spot in advance. The app's creators say it is a win-win for both sides. Driveways is active in other cities like San Diego. Police in that area say they have seen a decrease in traffic, and that's because drivers don't have to circle the same neighborhoods to find a parking spot. Well, now the app is available in Spokane. Our Amanda Rowley spent the day testing out the app, and we'll have more on how it works coming up new at 5 o'clock tonight. So in other news tonight, New York City rolled out the red carpet for the Women's World Cup soccer champions, and thousands of supporters turned out to congratulate the team. Our Whitney Ward has more on that celebration right now. Whitney?
Hello, yeah. So actually it's really exciting. Earlier today, the women rolled through what is known as the Canyon of Heroes. Well, team members and fans used that time to celebrate the big win. So Team USA also promoting equal pay for women. At a City Hall ceremony, co-captain Megan Rapinoe told fans everyone has a responsibility to make this world better.
It's our responsibility to make this world a better place. I think this team does an incredible job of taking that on our shoulders and understanding the position that we have and the platform that we have within this world. Yes, we play sports. Yes, we play soccer. Yes, we're female athletes, but we're so much more than that.
So the team sued the USA Soccer Federation back in March, claiming gender discrimination. And here's why. Prize money for last year's Men's World Cup came out to $400 million. For the women this year, it's only about $30 million. So with a win, the men would have walked away with more than $1.1 million each, compared to $250,000 for each of the women. So yeah, a pretty big disparity there. Female athletes, not the only ones demanding change. Fans at the World Cup final and even fans at the parade today chanted equal pay. And by the way, a West Virginia senator did introduce legislation that would block all federal funding that supports the 2026 World Cup, and that would remain in place until the U.S. Soccer Federation agrees to equal pay for the men's and the women's national teams. Jane, Tom?
Whitney, thank you very much. In other news, last fall, the former director of a Post Falls Senior Center was charged with embezzling hundreds of dollars from the nonprofit. Well, now she's taking a plea deal and admitting to the crime.
So even though it has only been a few years, the effects of what she did is still being felt at the Senior Center. KREM 2's Taylor Vito explains.
You can bet these volunteers are always working hard, but here at the Post Falls Senior Center, the stakes are even higher. This nonprofit is running on fewer donations than before, but their task of feeding around 2,800 old folks each month remains the same.
Well, we can't have someone that's sitting at home waiting for a meal, expecting a meal, and us just not show up.
How did they get here? Well, it all started a few years ago with this woman, Allison MacArthur. She's the former director of the Senior Center. Starting in 2016, she started embezzling money from the nonprofit, using funds to pay for personal car repairs and part of a trip to Disneyland. Board members at the Senior Center found out about it when they had overdue bills.
We kind of went into a panic mode because we didn't have the funds in there that we originally thought we did.
They shut down this thrift store the center had operated. 3 people lost their jobs. MacArthur was charged last fall and just recently took a plea deal for a lesser charge. She'll pay $3,500 restitution.
But the damage was already done. Leaders at the Senior Center say donations slowed, as did requests to rent this event space.
I think there was a scare throughout the community as well, and everything basically just started to shut down.
Leaders here say the event space was popular for groups to rent out, and the decreased interest was crippling.
They didn't know what was going on. Am I going to give money to something that's just going to close anyway?
For now, board leaders are looking at other ways to fundraise and make sure they're able to serve seniors. Most importantly, they want the community to know that MacArthur's case is wrapped up, she's long gone, and everyone is ready to move on.
And we can only keep the door open as long as the community supports it.
In Post Falls, Taylor Vito, KREM 2 News.